All right, you guys, we are live. Welcome back to our daily live feed. As you are logging on, if you'd like to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits and posing, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing. Tonight is a BSPN night. We are going to preview the shows for this coming weekend. There are several of them, so I'm not going to go into a ton of depth on all of these because we'll be here all night. But we're going to talk about who should be kind of the front runners and get your thoughts as far as who you think should win these shows, who are the favorites going in, all of those fun things right there for you. So if you are on Instagram while you're logging on, I will be screen sharing over on YouTube. So feel free to go on over to YouTube. If you're on YouTube, say hello as you're logging on. We always give it about 3 minutes for people to get on here so that we can start the live feed off with everybody here. Welcome, you guys. Welcome. And as you're logging on, Cuties Conquer the Stage live stream tickets are available. The link is in my description box on YouTube. It is in the link of my link tree on Instagram. Grab your live stream tickets. Early bird tickets are sold out. And then we do have some full price tickets available as well if you missed that deal. So make sure you're on top of it for next year. What else? What else? I'm trying to think of what I forgot. Yes, happy Thursday. Yes. There is a Studies with Sean this weekend. It's our last one of the year. So if you're here in this Northern Virginia area, you need to get some group posing in. Make sure you do that. What's up, Jamaica? Jamaica's over there in Spain. We're going to be talking about Spain tonight. Yeah, it's you're what, like 5 hours ahead or something like that in Spain? I don't even know. So yeah, you should be asleep right now. Sleeping is important, you guys. Make sure you get some sleep. Oh yeah, if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. And as always, like I said, comment, like, even after this video goes back up, it's the replay. Go back and comment and like the replay as well. Yeah, it's 1:15 in the morning over there in Spain. So yeah, you should be in bed. You should be in bed. That's for sure. All right. So yeah, there are quite a few shows this weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about 3 of them and a little bit about each one because specifically the Rising Phoenix is a huge one. With all women. So the Rising Phoenix is all women pros. So every female division available. There's that. I think I just told you to go to bed. I did, right? I did tell you to go to bed, right? But I understand like being all funky and stuff because of time differences and travel and all that kind of thing too. So I get that. I don't know what I would be doing if I was over in Spain right now. So but yeah, so I did want to shout out real quickly because we're not going to really preview this particular show, but I wanted to shout out Julia because Julia Waring is one of our speakers for Cuties Conquering the Stage, and she is competing this weekend in Texas, San Antonio, another San Antonio show. There's been like a San Antonio show like every week. This is her first show of the year. She's taken all year off. And I know she's probably hoping she can qualify for the Olympia at this show, which I think she has a really good shot of doing. Just looking at the pro list, she does seem to be the favorite. She just narrowly missed the top 10 at the Olympia this past year. So, yeah, I'm so happy to see her back too. And she's a great example of a competitor who, she took time off all year off, to come back and hopefully, take this show. If she wins this show, then she will be qualified for the Olympia. And I believe this would be her 4th time going to the Olympia. It might be her 3rd. I could be wrong on that. But yeah, she's one that's always gonna be a threat no matter where she goes, no matter what show she goes into. And she's an amazing ambassador of the sport too. So we bring her back to Cuties Conquering the Stage every year because she's incredible at speaking and portraying a really good, healthy image in the sport. And she's very good at just teaching and training and things like that too. So if you're looking for somebody that could be a good inspiration for you to follow, that's in the figure division, very high level in the figure division, she is one right there. So she's my pick for the win for this particular figure show. And I do think that if all goes well, if she comes in at her best and all of that, I think she'll take it. So I want to make sure that we gave her a good shout out here. Let me pull up, where did my last, there it is. I'm trying to see if there's even anybody on here that I would say might give her a run for her money. And to be honest with you, I don't see anybody. Let me pull up this list so you can take a look at it and see if I'm missing somebody. I don't see anybody on this list that I think can beat her. I think she's gonna beat everybody. This is the figure list for San Antonio. If anybody sees somebody on there that I'm missing, that just could be a threat. I think this is yeah, I think Julie's a pretty safe bet in this particular show. Just saying. I think that this is a pretty good bet right here. So that's my 2 cents on that. So let's look at the Klash first. We're going to look at the World Klash Pro first tonight, past that one, because this is a wellness pro show. So as we know, one of the things with the Klash series is Joe Perscula, who's the promoter for this show, does like to kind of highlight the women in his shows for the pros, right? So his Klash show that he does in the spring is for bikini pros. Now he's created this Klash one in the fall for wellness pros. So the list is pretty decent. I mean, we've been talking about this all year. The wellness lists have not been very deep. You know, it's been like 5-6 competitors, that kind of thing. So, you know, we've got a decent number of girls here, but to be honest with you, I don't know what kind of caliber we're going to see here. And a lot of that is because I'm looking at some of these names, and some of these names are pro debuts, or they've only done like one pro show, or they're from, you know, another country. So we haven't seen them here in the States. So, you know, it's kind of we don't really know what's going to happen here at this particular show. I did pull out 3 people to be potentially looking at this show, and one of those is Priscilla. Priscilla has been doing relatively well all year long. She has come close. You know, Tampa, she was second in Tampa. She's come close to winning a pro show. So I do think she's likely going to be your front runner for this show. Let me see if I can find a good front pose to show. One of the things that we've mentioned about her is just her structure. She's just a little bit long in the waistline. She's come in very well conditioned and all of that, and in good shape. Just her actual physical structure is a little bit long, so it's hard sometimes to get that real bubbly round muscle because she has this longer waistline here. So you can see that she has to get some growth into her quads, things like that. You can see, even looking at this particular picture that I pulled up, it looks like her upper body overpowers her lower body right here. That's partly posing, but she does need to add some size too. So with that, I do think she's likely going to be the girl that we're going to look at for a potential win here, because she has been doing relatively well throughout the year. So that is my pick for the winner circle. And then I also pulled up a couple other people that I just had their names and pulled up their ranks and things like that. This one right here, this is Marina. She just competed in Mexico and took 4th there. And I don't know how deep that was. Let me see how deep that show was, if it's going to go, which this has a tendency to do this sometimes during my live feeds where the website doesn't actually work. So I don't know how deep this show was, and it's not clicking back for me to the show itself. So is what it is, but she did take 4th here. So, you know, we can't see a whole lot because, like we talked about with these photos and things like that, like the photos of this Mexico show were really dark. Let me see. You know, I looked up Joy. For some reason, she didn't pop up, and that could just be the way that they had her name on the list. I'll pull her up again and see if I can get the website to work. But there's only a couple of pictures here anyway, and none of them are fully posed, so we can't really get a good idea of what she looked like. Let me see if I can pull up Joy. Give me a second here. Maybe because they have her middle initial. Maybe that's why it didn't come up. Let me see. One second. Let me search for her real quick. And try it without her middle. I think it's probably the middle initial that's throwing it off. Yep, that's why. Okay, they had this is let me show Joy real quick. She took third. Here we go. And again, we have no, like, she's not posed in any of these photos, so it's kind of difficult to see what she actually looked like. And they're super dark photos too. So again, it's hard to tell what she actually looked like on stage, but she did take third here. So, okay, so she's another one to be paying attention to. Let me see if we got anything here. It's so hard to know what they look like in this show, just with the lighting on the photos. So yeah, the pics are terrible. They're real bad. You can't tell what they look like. So I can't really comment on anything as far as their structure, conditioning, anything like that, because the pictures are so dark. It's really hard to tell. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll get a better understanding of what they look like at the Clash. You know what I mean? So that's a good thing. Let's see if by chance this website is working. Sometimes this does that once in a while. Oh, there we go. Okay, it went back this time. So let me see. There was 9 girls in that show. And the top 2 girls, I believe now, are qualified. So Joy would be third on that list. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. I just talked about Marina. Yep. Okay, there we are. And then the other person that I pulled up is Tatiani, because she also has placed in the top 5 too. So let me share her. Go. So she placed top 5 here at the Texas State Pro-Am. So and placed second at Tahoe last year. So she hasn't competed this year. So it'll be interesting to see what she looks like this year. Maybe if she's put on some size. I'm looking at her pictures right now from last year. And just looks like to me she needs some size overall. And if she's been off stage since last year, maybe she's done that. A lot can happen in a year. And it looks like she was pretty close to winning a show last year. So maybe if she comes back this year, couple more pounds of muscle on her legs. She could very well be a threat. I mean, she looks pretty good in these pictures right here. You know what I mean? So she just needs some more size, some more depth on her legs, and better conditioning on her legs. Her upper body's fine. Upper body doesn't need to change at all. But lower body, she just needs a little bit more fullness. So if she's been doing that this year, who knows? She could be one to come in and kind of take it too. Let's see. So those are the ones that I pulled out for the Clash because, again, it's not a very deep lineup, and we have some relatively new names on the list. Just not a whole lot of people to be like, oh, she's going to be it. You know what I mean? So if I had to bet, I would bet on Priscilla, but that doesn't mean much because there are girls here on this list that are in kind of the same position that Priscilla is in as far as placings and things like that are concerned. So yeah, it could be any one of them. Could be Priscilla, could be Joy, could be somebody I didn't even mention, right? So that's the Clash down in Florida this weekend. Let me close that out. And we talked about Texas State, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that one. We're going to do Phoenix, Rising Phoenix last because that's the big one. Okay, so then we have the Spain show. And they have figure here too, but I don't know any of the figure girls. There's no U.S. girls in this particular lineup. They're all overseas. Fitness, bodybuilding. But obviously bikini is the target here. So looking at this list, 12 girls. And right out of the gate at the top of that, towards the top of that list, we see Ivana Eskandar. So she would be probably the one we're going to think about as our potential winner for this show. She did just come off of, what did she place in? Second? No, second? Yeah, she placed second in the Arnold. So she's been on a tear this year. She's been doing very, very well. And of course, I can't get the numbers. There we go. Okay, trying to get a good picture up front here. Here we go. And they love her over in these European shows. She sometimes struggles a little bit here in the US because her conditioning is a little bit harder, that kind of thing. But whenever she's in a European show, she is a threat. The only one that beat her at the UK Arnold was Ashley Kaltwasser. So she would be for sure your front runner for a win here at this particular show, hands down. So we'll see what she doesn't really change much. She looks pretty much the same in every show she goes into. So we kind of know what to expect, kind of know what she's going to look like. So it's just going to be a matter of how everybody else compares to her. Let's see. We're going to go, and I do have Shanika up here too, because Shanika went over there to compete this past weekend. So I pulled up her last show here, so we can just give her a quick shout out. She flew all the way over to Spain for this show, man, which is actually something I would like to do. I'd like to go compete over in Europe next year if possible. Something that's on my bucket list, right? So I want to give her a big good luck as she gets on stage this weekend. And that's why Jamaica's on our live feed too, because Jamaica is also over there to compete too. So good luck to both of them, Jamaica and the NPC. Hit the wrong button. And let's go back here. I also pulled up Esther. She just placed third in Warsaw. So let me find here's a good front shot of her. I feel like for some reason I felt like I saw her win a show this year, but I think I'm wrong. I think I'm thinking of somebody else. But she just a couple weeks ago placed third in Warsaw for this particular show. So she did well. So let me go back. There we go. As you can see, she's very conditioned. Again, that's similar to Ivana. Ivana is also very conditioned. So this tends to be a theme over here in these European shows and things like that. So yeah, for some reason I thought she won a show, but it's not showing up on NPC News. So I guess I might be thinking of somebody else. I'm seeing a lot of, second, third, fourth, fifth, second, that kind of thing. No winning shows. So I don't know. Maybe she's not up there yet. I don't know. Maybe it was a recent one. I just feel like she won something, but I guess not. But anyway, she is a top 2, top 3, top 4 contender. So expect to see her up in those top spots here too. And then we have Allison Testu. So Allison Testu, as we know, has been over to the States. She's done the Arnold UK. She did just do Prague, and I believe she was 4th in Prague, I think, the Prague Pro. They don't have that one up yet as far as photos and stuff like that's concerned. So I'm pretty sure she took 4th. She was 8th here at the UK Arnold. She tends to come in, again, very conditioned, but again, that's not a ding on her when she's in these European shows, because all the girls do. So where I think she needs some help, and I think she's starting to fix this, is her back pose and her front pose, really, her posing in general. So I think, and I wish we had some pictures from this last show, because I think she's been fixing some of this stuff, just so we could have a comparison. But she's way overarching in this pose, way pushing back and making herself look very, very square. So, if she could just round out and fill out a little bit and kind of straighten up a little bit, I think that could really help her. She could definitely be a threat for this show. I mean, I think she's going to be in the top 3, but it's just a matter of where. It's a matter of where she's going to fall in that top 3. So I know she's one of the ones that's really gunning for some Olympia points and things like that too. I don't know where she is on the list for points right now, but I know she's close. And I believe she competed in the Arnold UK, but she also competed in the Arnold here in the States too. So she competed in Pittsburgh, and she's been in a bunch of big shows, right? So it's just a matter of she just needs to nail this look, and I think she tends to be just a little bit too conditioned and just a little bit off with her presentation and things like that. So she just got to get that figured out. But again, in this particular show, I would say that your winner would be Ivana, just looking at on paper. Now, obviously, things can change. Doesn't necessarily mean she's going to win it, but she would be the one just based on her record this year and last year. So let's see. And everybody's given all the good lucks to Shanika and Jamaica and everything over here. So good luck to you. Hopefully they'll see these when they get back on here, if they're on here, or if they get back on. So lastly, we're going to go over to the Rising Phoenix show. So again, this is a big show every year. And it has every female division. So, women's bodybuilding, fitness, figure. We've got figure over 40, bikini over 40, and women's physique and wellness. All right. So, and this is a pretty good wellness lineup here too. I'll be honest, I didn't really go through and look up everybody. So I think that Devin is here on the IG live here. I would say one to be looking for is Renee Harshey. She just won this past weekend. This will be a good test for Renee too, because I feel like last weekend she didn't really have a lot of competition. So it'll be interesting to see how she lines up on this particular show. She is already qualified for the Olympia because she won last week. But we'll see what she looks like here. And my biggest critique of her is I actually think she's gorgeous. I think she has a beautiful, beautiful look, but I think she's just slightly undersized. She still, to me, looks really balanced from top to bottom. She still looks a little bit just like a bigger bikini competitor. And what I want to see is a dominant lower half. And when I look at her, I just don't see a dominant lower half. I see bigness everywhere. So she's not quite big enough for wellness in the lower half. Upper body still looks a little bit like bikini. With the balance from top to bottom. So that's, I think, where she gets dinged a little bit when she gets into these more competitive lineups. But again, a beautiful look. She just needs to get that balance straightened out. Let's see. And I've seen a bunch of these names before, but I'm not super familiar with them. And I'm not going to sit here and go through every one of them with you guys, but she's the one, like I said, Renee is the one that pops out at me right away. Anybody else have a name that they want me to look up real quick since we're here? I was very behind on time today and didn't get a chance to look up all these names. Typically I have time to sit down before I get on live with you guys and look up everybody, especially ones that I don't know their names, things like that, so that I can make sure that I'm not forgetting anybody. But I didn't have a chance to do that today, so I just had to pull from what I knew. But yeah, I'll be paying attention to this show this weekend regardless. So we know who's going to be people to be watching going into the Olympia too for wellness. So let's go. Tatum, Letitia, and Maria are the only ones who have really competed. Have any of them done well? This is Devin's over on Instagram, so I'm just asking her. Have any of them actually placed top 5? Let me see. Let's see here. So looking at Tatum now, she's placed 4th. But yeah, but it was a small show. I think there was only 5 girls in the show, that kind of thing. So yeah, she looks a little bit not conditioned enough in this particular show that I'm looking at right now. Who else was it? You said Letitia. Let me see. Oh, Letitia was at Legion. And she placed third there. I remember talking about her recently. Yeah. Oh, there you go. That just your comment just popped up, Devin, about Letitia. So I did miss. I did thought I recognized that name, but I just didn't put two and two together. So yes, she placed third at Clash of the Titans and also Legion. So she could be one to be looking at for sure. And you said Anne Marie. We don't have anybody popping up for her. Let me see if maybe we go. Her name's not popping up, so they must have done her name differently on the pro list versus the versus NPC News. But anyway, those are some people to look at. There you go. Yeah, I see that she's Canadian, but she's just not popping up on NPC News when I put her name in. Okay, so let's go to Bikini. Now, this is a show that's going to be interesting. So I wanted to leave this one for last because this is going to be an interesting show. There's a few girls in here that have been fighting for Olympia points. We don't have anybody that's on this list that's qualified for the Olympia right now. Some of them have a lot of points. Some of them are pretty close, but nobody's actually qualified. So I wanted to kind of talk about a couple of them. So we have Deanna Dang. So she has been competing quite a bit the last couple of months here, placing top 5. My critiques of her have been that she's just a little bit too small in the upper body, just a little bit too small in general. She's got great glutes from the back, but her legs are really, really long and lean from the back. Let me show a back pose right here. So she just needs some more size, right? But she's been placing top 5s. So that tells me that she's going to be a threat regardless. She could be a potential, come out of nowhere kind of thing and win the show. It's possible. So she's one to be paying attention to for sure. And then we have Lana, who, she's obviously been fighting for Olympia points too. Same show right here that Deanna Dang was in. Lana placed second here. She's placed second quite a few times this year. And you just been missing that first place spot. So there's some times where she comes in and she looks phenomenal. And then there's other times when she comes in, she's a little bit off. So it's just a matter of how she comes in for this particular show. I don't think this one was on her radar. I think she decided to jump in because I don't think she was on the pro list when it first came out on Monday. This is why I wait to do my previews until Thursday, because people always decide to jump in. And in her scenario, I think it was a smart move to jump into this as long as she's ready for it. The hard part about just jumping into a show is that you don't get to do a full peak week like you would normally do. And sometimes your body can kind of freak out a little bit because of stress that it didn't really need to have. So that there's a plus and minus there. I believe she just jumped into this. I could be wrong. But I thought from what I saw on social media, I thought she was prepping for Sacramento. So I think she decided to just jump into this particular show because there was nobody that's Olympia qualified, nobody that's like a standout as far as going to win this show kind of thing. So with that said, on paper, she would probably be the front runner, right? But it's a matter of how is her body going to respond to deciding to jump into a show, right? Because I believe she's done this once before where she just decided to jump in and it didn't play well for her. But I could be remembering that wrong. So if anybody remembers what I'm talking about in this particular, I think it was a show earlier in the year that she decided to jump into, and I just don't think that she ended up having one of her better looks. But who knows? It could go the opposite way this time because she fixed that from the last time. So, on paper, she would probably be your front runner for this particular show. She'd be your front runner. So let's take a look next. Now, I brought up Michelle Hurst because Michelle is on this list. In the open category, she tends to be placing in like the second call out area, but she wins every Masters Pro show that she goes into. And the thing is that even though she's in her 40s, she is a previous Olympian. She has been on the Olympia stage. So she's been there, she's done that. And the reason why I brought her up is because this is one of those shows that, because there's no front runner really going into this, she could potentially squeak out a win here. It's not like guaranteed or anything like that, but I could see her for sure in that top call out. And depending on how everybody else looks, I mean, she has a shot of potentially taking home a win here. She's done it before. She's been to the Olympia before. And like I said, she wins every Masters show that she goes into. So I'll be interested to see how this plays out for her. Because it's not like it's out of left field that she could potentially win this. So put her in there as that kind of wild card where she's just hitting a good show, that this could potentially be it for her. Let's see. What did I pull up here? Oh, this was that Italian show. I don't think I needed to see that one. What did I know I pulled this up for a reason. I don't know why. I think it was for Lillian. Yes, that's why this was up. So this is another one that's on the list. Lillian Lopez, placed top 5 in Italy just recently. Looks pretty good to me. Again, it's hard to tell when you're talking about girls that have come from the European shows over here to the States as far as how they're going to play out when they come here to the States. But this looks like a pretty balanced physique, pretty decent conditioning, not over the top. We talk about that a lot with European competitors where they go over the top with conditioning. She's not doing that here. That could play well for her here in the States. Also, based on the girls that we're talking about already with Lana and Deanna and all that stuff, she fits in pretty well right there with that crowd. Let's take a look at her back shot. Yeah, I mean, she needs some size from the back, but up against, again, girls like Deanna and Lana that we were just talking about, I feel like her frame fits pretty well with them. So this could be potentially a really good show for her. We talked about that with the San Antonio show where all the girls looked a little bit on the smaller side. So that this could definitely play well for her being on the smaller side. So I did pull her up because she has placed in the top 5. So she's a potential there. Next one that I'm going to share is Marissa Walmart. She's the last one. So she just placed top 5 in San Antonio as well. We talked about her from the front. She looks really, really good. From the back, she needs to add some more glutes. But again, she's going to be standing up on a stage next to these girls where she placed well against them last time. So this could play well for her again. Again, most of these girls that we're talking about are all girls that have placed somewhere in that top 5 between, 2nd to 5th. And depending on the show, depending on the day, they placed higher, they placed lower. So this could really go any which way between any of these girls that I just showed you. So we will have somebody new that qualifies for the Olympia at this particular show because nobody's qualified right now. We could see a potential Masters athlete come out, maybe make some noise with that. But we will get somebody here on this list that is going to qualify. Everybody else will get points, obviously, but we're going to get somebody new on this list that will qualify for the Olympia. So again, on paper, I would say that Lana's probably your front runner in this particular show, but it could go any which way. So, same thing I mentioned about Ivana over in Spain. On paper, Ivana would be the winner, would be the one that would be the standout. But it just depends on how they decide to stack it up that day, right? Any questions? Anybody want to put their 2 cents in as far as who they think is going to take home a top spot at these shows, at any of these shows? Who are you rooting for? All of that. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. Would like to see Lana get it. Yeah, she's been fighting all year. So, like I said, it's on paper, it looks like she should be the winner in this particular show, but we'll see. regardless, I do think she's still going to be in the top 5, which to me indicates she's probably going to qualify for the Olympia on points anyway. Actually, let me figure that out. Hang on a second. Let me see where she is in point standing. I know she's really close to the top in point standing. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Standings. I'm assuming it's been updated. It's updated on the 31st. So yes, it's updated as of right now. So let me get to bikini here. Man, there's so many girls qualified. Holy cow. Lana right now is 4th on the list. So, all right. So there's our qualification series list. So Esther is not qualified. She's the one that I mentioned. I thought she had won a show. She hasn't. So Esther is not qualified, but she is number 3 on the list right now. So if she doesn't win, this point system is going to come down to the very last show. So if Lana wins, then she's out, she's qualified, right? If she doesn't, let's say she plays 2nd and she gets 4 points. So that's going to bump her up. It's going to bump her up into that 3rd place spot there. But she's still fighting against Esther. So let's say Esther doesn't win and she gets 4 points. Well, then Esther now comes up into that 2nd place spot. So that still leaves Lana in the 4th place spot if Esther doesn't win. Okay. If Esther wins, Lana will bump up into 3rd. I'm looking at the rest of the list here, and I don't see anybody else that can really get up into that bracket. Everybody, it's really a fight between these three girls right here. If Esther doesn't win and she places 2nd, let's say she places 2nd, she's going to bump up over Stein Hansen. So, man, I said at the beginning that I thought that Jody was safe, no problem. She still is safe. She's not going to get anybody to bump her out. But it's crazy how quickly people have been able to rise up. This is like Vanya last year. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. A couple of years ago, one of the other girls I worked with too, Brittany, same thing. She qualified in the top 5 points in the last show of the season by placing 5th. She needed 1 point and needed all the other shows to play out the way that they did in order for her to qualify for the Olympia, and she did. So it's going to come down to these 3 girls and what happens over the next couple of weeks. Stein is not competing this weekend, but she might be there's Romania next weekend. So she might be in Romania. Esther is competing this weekend. Lana is competing this weekend. So if Lana takes home the win, then these 3 girls are going to be your girls that get in right here. These 3 girls, right? There's nobody else here on this list that can get enough points to bump themselves up that high. But if Lana does not win this weekend, or if Esther does not win this weekend, if either one of these girls don't win this weekend, these 3 are going to be fighting for those 2 spots. Right? So, like I said, if Esther wins or if Lana wins, then all of these 4 girls are going to end up getting into the Olympia. But we're just going to see how it plays out. This is what keeps it interesting. If none of them win, then it's still going to be a fight for the next 2 weeks. So they got 2 more weeks to make this up. 2 more weeks to get the points that they need. So going to be interesting. Going to be interesting how it all plays out. And it could be, it could be that both of them end up winning. If Esther and Lana end up winning, then we'll bump up that Jessica from Brazil. That'll bump her up. So we'll see how it plays out. So, they're both smart. Esther and Lana are both smart to be competing right now because neither one of them are safe. Obviously, you can't just assume you're going to get in. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Going to be a fun couple of weeks to see how this plays out. So, with that, that's our live feed for tonight. So we are done for this week. I will go live this weekend at Sundays with Sean, and then we'll be back on live again here on Tuesday. And we will go over the results from this past week. Okay. We are getting down to the nitty gritty here. If you are on our YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe. get us working in those algorithms, please. Get tickets for Cuties Conquering the Stage live stream. I can't believe we are so close to this already. I'm like counting down the days of all the content having to be done and all that kind of stuff. So it's just crazy how quickly it's coming. Cutie Challenge update is going to come soon here too, because we are at the end of our Cutie Challenge update and we have people that have qualified for Olympia trips and things like that this year. So that's coming up too. We have so many things to do in the next month. So many things to do in the next month. And then, of course, there's the Olympia coming up and everything as well. So I hope you guys have had a great week so far. Happy Thursday. And I will be back again on Tuesday live, and we'll see you all then. All right. I'm going to X out of Instagram first and YouTube last.